SDA Church since 2016. He's also a small business owner of JB Interpreters, who facilitate interpretation for events throughout the DC area. He's a proud father of 3 beautiful children and has lived in Arlington since 1986 when he arrived from Lima, Peru as a child. He's highly influenced by witnessing his dear parents who immigrated to the United States in 1985 and their struggles amongst the height of terrorism in Peru. He is a former tenant at the Serrano Apartments, having lived there between 2015 and 2021. He was a tenant and community leader there under the leadership and direction of Yaneth Valenzuela, one of our awardees from last year, who's here in the audience. And joined with her and Arlington Community Advocates and other community leaders for that work. He and his family were directly impacted by a lot of the deteriorating living conditions at the Serrano that ranged from mice infestation and mold to being displaced, living in hotels, and having to protect his family from those health risks. He took that pain and that suffering and put that energy to work to create a strong voice to help those tenants. Julio and Yaneth have worked for almost 4 years to help strengthen tenants' rights and empower tenants. It's windy out here today, pardon me. Many of those folks joined the cause directly after hearing the terrible testimonies being shared by those families put forward by Julio and Yaneth. Serving along with Yaneth from the Kenmore Parents Group and a former voice organizer, Jeremy McClayton, they worked together to quickly build tenant power. With the help of partners Voice and Bugada, ASHPA, Arlington County board members, and later also the Arlington chapter of the NAACP, Julio and Yaneth were able to accomplish the following from the work at the Serrano Apartments. They managed to get replacement of the property management. They managed to get the early retirement of one of their folks there who was running the building at the AHC. Actually, they had quite a number of retirements, it sounds like. Wow. They did some good work. That's all I'm going to say. They did some incredible work doing this work to lift up and amplify the voices of people who, like we all know, members of our family, simply do not have that same level of connection. So Julio's been doing incredible work. And he believes that this is God's work and that there is no limit to what can be done to accomplish and to help our vulnerable families here in Arlington and beyond. He believes that our communities have and will continue to make change here in Arlington so that future generations will be able to share the blessing that it is to live here in Arlington. So please, another round of applause for Elder Julio. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic.
Good.
Okay, buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, hola.
I'm Elder Julio Basurto. I'm a regular guy, then I ended up in this work, so I thank everybody for this event. Alfonso, Kevin, all the Democrats. God, my family, my crew over there, Johnny, Nelly, Georgina, Marcelo, there's so many. Jeremy, Marjorie, there's a lot of people to thank, the ASHPA crew, and Juntos en Justicia, my children, everybody who's had patience with me doing this work. I want today to read something to you, not on behalf of me, but on behalf of tenants, on behalf of vulnerable families. You can say it's a little bit poetic, and it can be a little bit strong, but I promise you, you'll be okay. All right? It's called Dear Latino Leader. This includes a message for the veteran Latinos, current leaders, young people who will be leaders, and those leaders that are not Latinos, but advocate in our communities. Dear Latino leaders, where are you and your mindset today? Where are your plans and where are you headed? Have you lost your first love? Do you know what I mean by first love? Do you know that leadership without people is like body without oxygen? It doesn't exist. Dear Latino leader, do you know the words without action are just wasted breath? And not only that, do you know that wasted breath has consequences? Yes, real consequence, for you promised the world and left us behind. Yes, your inaction has affected my life. It has caused harm and traumatized our families. Yes, dear Latino leaders, do you think I'm crazy, or do you think I'm speaking these words today for a reason? I'm not sure, because you didn't come to my neighborhood when I needed you most. You didn't visit me when COVID hit. You didn't care to knock on my door when I was hungry and out of a job. You didn't fight for me when AHC left my children amongst rodent, mold, and asbestos. You didn't fight for all the displaced family and those who had to leave Arlington because there is no housing, accountability, or empty wait lists in this county. You didn't even drive by to see the turmoil that was occurring with families stuck 24/7 in their home during COVID. Yes, dear Latino leader, you waited. You had an inkling, but you waited. You knew something was happening, but you waited. You knew our people were taken advantage of. You knew AHC, county staff, schools, police were mistreating the people, but yes, you waited. You waited, but God didn't. God heard the cries of his oppressed people, and it reached the heavens. For listen, hear the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated of their pay. The cries of those who harvested your fields have reached the ears of the Lord of heaven's armies. James 5:4. Dear Latino leader, do you know that leadership is not a joke and comes with great responsibility, in which God will hold you accountable? For it is he who raises and removes leaders for his purpose. And those purposes are none of my business, they're his. Oh, you didn't know. Well, now you have no excuse, for I am laying it out plainly. Dear Latino leaders, are your feelings, your mind and your temper perturbed at these words? Well, if it's too hot in this cocina, you are weak. For we need to be able to have these conversations in order to progress. Dear Latino leader, did you know that during the pandemic, your people needed you, your organizations and your resources? Did you know the kids need help signing on to class while avoiding bubbling mold over their beds and mice in their food at Serrano Apartments owned by AHC Inc.? Do you know they made them sign things in English, intimidated, threatened to kick out 700 families during the pandemic? Do you know any of this stuff? Dear Latino leader, did you know they and others are charging families $100 key fob parking tax, $75 monthly fees to low-income housing? Do you know that they still refuse to take responsibility and make our families whole again? Did you know that? Do you know that an autistic family was assaulted in one of their conference rooms and police were going to arrest them? Do you know we declared war on them for this in county staff and school? And you know what? Now we're working together. Oh yes, these things are all happening. Please take note, for you will need them for your grants and your statistics. Worst of all, do you know what is happening with our undocumented families locally? Do you know they're scared? They have no work, and if they find work, they have to travel out of state because there is no opportunities for them to work here. Do you know that the DMV has been mistreating them? Do you know that mothers are being taken advantage of at work and facing domestic violence at home, but the organizations and the authorities say they can't help until the first assault? Do you know they are dying inside? I did that on purpose. No, they are dying inside. Nose. There's nose everywhere. N-O. they receive every time. They get all pretty for an interview. They travel far.
That's too much. Too much.
This has happened. It's real. Many times it's happened to people. Also.
Because their websites say they require U.S. passport, green card, driver license, worker permits, in that order. Talk about deterrent factors. Do you see what is happening to their children? GPS system and what that means for our future. Do you know that sometimes the ones who are supposed to help them now want to have a cafecito with them? Come on now. Who is supposed to be watching over all of this? Who is supposed to be speaking out against this? You, Latino leader, you know. I could go on, but we have a limited time. Dear Latino leader, remember, I ask you, remember when I asked you if you lost your first love? Your first love is why you ever joined this cause in the first place. It is your passion for the people, your passion for the cause, or should I say was. Where is it and what the hell have you done with it? Have you traded it for a nice desk, money and prestige? Have you lost yourself, my dear Latino leader? It's okay. It happens. But what's not okay is if you continue to forget our people and cause and our future, which is more important than all of that. My dear Latino leaders, you have two choices today. You continue on your merry way, or you choose to change. As for us, we're not going to take any more abuse from anybody. We're not going to take abuse from housing providers. We're not going to take abuse from county staff, school staff, police, nobody. Nobody. Our own people who are suffering because of our own people who are suffering an identity crisis where they have forgotten where they came from. We are not taking any mistreatment or stealing of credit from other advocates either for work that we have shed blood, sweat, and tears for. We're getting our respect back. For God has heard the cries of the people and has raised up strong leaders out of the rocks, for others failed to do their work. Don't fight it. This is now a sacred work. It's out of your hands. It can't be stopped, and we're not going back. We are not reversing. It is up to you now what you will do with your leadership, and I say choose wisely. Young people, hear my words. Young people, hear my words. Wisdom comes from observing the mistakes of those who came before you and not repeating them. You have power, young person. Begin to ask questions why and demand quality work that really benefits our people. Challenge the status quo. If you have to use numbers and statistics, let it not be only for grants, but let it be used to measure the quality of services our people are receiving to create strategic goals that work. Remove young people, remove current leaders, remove the following. Remove the Latino that hates his own skin. Remove him from positions of power and access to services. Their twisted faces, their spider legs, and their snapping claws only scare and hurt our people. Make sure, young person, you are affiliated with real advocacy, not exclusive clubs or lip service. Today is a new day, my Latino people, for I am not accepting this award unless I have made myself clear. If you are interested in the real and supporting the cause, please email me, juntosenjusticia@gmail.com. Together in justice. That's our new name. We've had it since 2020, and we're using it now. We're about to embark on a journey to break more barriers down so our undocumented women can have access to work and resources here in Arlington. We need business and immigration lawyers to advise us. We need people with organizational skills. We need leaders that can make change at county and state levels. We need strategic planners. We need soldiers to walk the ground with us and knock on the doors. Thank you very much for giving me this moment. It has been an honor.
Thank you.
Not do anything to help those, like the rest of us. That's why we're blessed here in Arlington to have leaders like Julio and Saul and Kathleen, to have leaders like Alfonso, to have leaders who are absolutely doing what they can to actually bring that community forward and to uplift every single person in Arlington. And so that's why we are here, that's why this caucus is here, and we are so proud and honored to have this opportunity to share that work with you all, to amplify that work, and to show the community that moving forward, Latinos will not be ignored.
Yes.
The Latino community in Arlington is connected, they are together, they are empowered, and we are not going to allow any political party to ignore us moving forward.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And so so anyway, he was preaching, he had me preaching. I do want to use this opportunity for any family, friends, loved ones to come on up. We're going to take some photos, and as that's happening too, we'll have Delegate Lopez kind of